This is the Magician, card number 1 of the Tarot's major arcana. The master of manifestation, the bridge between thought and reality, and this is Eddie Morra from Limitless, a blocked writer who unlocks his potential and transforms his entire life in a matter of weeks. The Magician represents the power to manifest your will into reality, to use every resource available to you, and to bridge the gap between what you imagine and what you create. By the end of this video, you'll understand what the Magician means when it appears in a reading, what it looks like reversed, and why Eddie's journey in Limitless is the perfect demonstration of this card's power in its shadow. Subscribe to Occult Cinema, and continue this journey with me through all 22 major arcana cards, each revealed through the language of film. Every card is a movie, every movie is a message. Stay watching because in Occult Cinema, the screen is the sigil. Let's begin. Understanding the Magician card. The Magician is card number 1 in the Tarot's major arcana. After the Fool takes the leap, the Magician is what they become: focused, skilled, and ready to manifest. In Kabbalistic tradition, the Magician represents Path 12 on the Tree of Life, connecting Keter, the crown of pure consciousness, to Binah, understanding, the divine feminine principle of form. This is the path where infinite potential begins to take shape, where thought becomes form. The Magician corresponds to the Hebrew letter Beth, which means house, and to the planet Mercury, the messenger, the communicator, the trickster, the master of language and skill. Look at the traditional imagery. The Magician stands before a table. On that table are 4 tools: a wand, a cup, a sword, and a pentacle. These represent the 4 elements: fire, water, air, and earth, and the 4 suits of the tarot. The Magician has access to all of them. Above the Magician's head floats the infinity symbol, representing unlimited potential and the eternal nature of consciousness. One hand points up to the heavens, the other points down to the earth. This is the gesture that says, as above, so below. What exists in the realm of thought must be brought into the realm of matter. The Magician's core message is this: you have everything you need. The tools are on the table. The power is in your hands. Now focus your will and manifest. When the Magician appears upright in a reading, it signals a time of power, skill, and manifestation. It tells you that you have all the resources you need to succeed. This is the moment to take focused action, to use your talents, to communicate clearly, and to bridge the gap between vision and reality. The Magician upright says, stop waiting, stop doubting. You're ready, act now. In career readings, the Magician means you have the skills for success. In love, it means take initiative and communicate clearly. In finances, it means use your resources wisely to create abundance. In spirituality, it means you can manifest your intentions through focused will. When the Magician appears reversed, it reveals the shadow side of this power. The reversed Magician can mean several things. First, it can indicate blocked power. You have the abilities, but you're not using them. Self-doubt is preventing action. You're scattering your energy across too many things instead of focusing on one. You're waiting for permission you don't need. Second, it can indicate misuse of power. Manipulation instead of honest communication, trickery and deception, using your skills for selfish or harmful ends. The con artist, the charlatan, the person who talks a good game but delivers nothing. Third, it can indicate poor timing. You're acting before you're truly ready, or you're claiming mastery you haven't earned. The reversed Magician asks, are you doubting your abilities unnecessarily? Are you scattering your focus? Are you being manipulative? Are you misusing your gifts? And this is exactly what we see in Limitless. Eddie Morra's journey shows us both the upright Magician and the reversed Magician, the power and the shadow, the manifestation, and the cost. Eddie is the blocked Magician. When we meet Eddie Morra, he's the perfect example of the reversed Magician in its blocked form. He's a writer who can't write. He has a book contract, but he's produced nothing. His apartment is a disaster. His girlfriend Lindy leaves him because, as she says, she can't be with someone with no future. His landlord's wife demands rent he doesn't have. He looks disheveled, unfocused, lost. Eddie has potential. He's intelligent, educated, articulate. But none of that matters because he can't focus. He can't manifest. He has the tools on the table, but he's not using them. This is the reversed Magician as blocked power. All the ability in the world means nothing if you can't access it, if you can't focus it, if you can't turn thought into action. Eddie is scattered. He starts his book but can't finish it. He has ideas but can't execute them. He's paralyzed by self-doubt and lack of direction. Then he runs into Vernon, his ex-wife's brother, a drug dealer who offers him something that will change everything, a pill called NZT48. Vernon tells him it's FDA approved, totally safe, and that it allows you to access 100% of your brain instead of the usual 20%. Eddie is skeptical but desperate. He takes the pill, and everything changes. Within seconds, Eddie's mind unlocks. He sees connections he's never seen before. He remembers everything he's ever read, heard, or experienced. His apartment, which was chaos moments ago, suddenly looks like a puzzle he can solve. He cleans the entire apartment quickly, and then he sits down at his computer and writes 90 pages of his book in one sitting. The words flow effortlessly. He's not struggling anymore. He's manifesting. When Vernon sees what Eddie has accomplished, he's amazed. He gives Eddie more pills and tells him to come back tomorrow for the rest of his supply. But when Eddie returns, Vernon has been murdered. His apartment is ransacked. Eddie finds Vernon's stash of NZT hidden in the oven, hundreds of pills, and takes them. This is the moment Eddie becomes the magician. He has the tool. Now he has to learn how to use it. The tool. In the tarot, the magician holds a wand. The wand doesn't create magic. The wand focuses and amplifies the magic that's already there. NZT is Eddie's wand. The drug doesn't give Eddie abilities he doesn't have. It unlocks the abilities that were always there but inaccessible. Eddie already knew things. He already had intelligence, memory, and pattern recognition. But he couldn't access it. His brain was operating at 20% capacity. NZT removes the limitations. It allows Eddie to use 100% of his brain. Suddenly, he can remember every book he's ever read, every conversation he's ever had, every piece of information he's ever encountered. He can see patterns and connections instantly. He can learn new skills in hours instead of years. As Eddie says, "I wasn't high, I was blind, and now I can see." This is what the magician represents. Not gaining new power, but accessing the power you already have. Not becoming something you're not, but becoming fully what you are. The magician's wand is focus. It's discipline. It's the tool that allows you to channel your natural abilities into manifestation. For Eddie, that tool is NZT. But the lesson applies to all of us. What's your wand? What's the tool that helps you focus your scattered energy? For some, it's meditation. For others, it's a morning routine, a creative practice, a mentor, or a system. The magician teaches us that we need tools. We need structure. We need something that helps us bridge the gap between potential and manifestation. Eddie takes his first NZT pill and finishes his book in 4 days. His editor is stunned. The book is brilliant. Eddie has manifested what was always inside him but couldn't get out. But finishing the book is just the beginning. Eddie realizes that if NZT can unlock his writing, it can unlock everything else too. Manifestation in action. With NZT, Eddie becomes the upright magician in full power. He starts with $800. He needs to turn it into more. He goes to a party and meets a woman who introduces him to a broker. Eddie observes the stock market for a few hours, sees patterns no one else can see, and starts trading. Within days, he turns $800 into $2,000, then $10,000, then $100,000, then $2 million. This is manifestation in real time. Eddie sees the pattern in his mind, as above, and executes the trades in reality, so below. There's no gap between thought and action. What he imagines, he creates. He learns languages by listening to people speak for a few minutes. He becomes fluent in Italian, French, and Mandarin. He walks into rooms and reads everyone instantly, knowing exactly what to say to charm them, persuade them, and to influence them. He learns piano in 3 days. He learns to fight by remembering every martial arts movie, every boxing match, every self-defense technique he's ever seen. The magician has access to all 4 elements, all 4 tools, and Eddie demonstrates this perfectly. The wand, fire, will, and action. Eddie takes decisive action in everything he does. No hesitation, no second guessing. The cup, water, emotion, and relationships. Eddie reads people's emotions and desires instantly. He knows how to connect, how to charm, how to make people feel seen. The sword, air, intellect, and communication. Eddie's mind is razor sharp. He sees patterns, makes connections, solves problems instantly, and he communicates with perfect eloquence. The pentacle, earth, material manifestation. Eddie turns his mental abilities into actual wealth, money, power, and influence. He manifests in the physical world. This is what the magician does. The magician uses every available resource, tool, and skill to manifest their vision into reality. Eddie's transformation is so dramatic that he catches the attention of Carl Van Loon, a powerful businessman who wants to use Eddie's abilities for a massive merger deal. Van Loon offers Eddie a job, access to even more resources, and the opportunity to play at the highest levels of power. Eddie accepts. He's manifesting on a scale he never imagined possible. But there's a problem. And this is where the shadow side of the magician begins to emerge. The 4 elements mastered. Let's look more closely at how Eddie demonstrates mastery of the 4 elements, because this is what the magician card is really about. Fire, the wand, represents will, passion, and action. On NZT, Eddie's will is unstoppable. He decides to make money and he makes millions. He decides to learn piano and he masters it in days. There's no gap between intention and execution. His will manifests instantly. Water, the cup, represents emotion, intuition, and relationships. Eddie becomes a master of reading people. He walks into a room and instantly knows who has power, who wants what, who can be influenced, and how. He charms everyone he meets. He reconnects with Lindy and wins her back. He navigates complex social situations effortlessly. Air, the sword, represents intellect, communication, and strategy. This is where Eddie truly shines. His mind becomes a supercomputer. He sees patterns in the stock market that no one else can see. He learns languages instantly. He solves complex problems in seconds. And he communicates with perfect clarity and eloquence. Every word he speaks is precisely chosen for maximum impact. Earth, the pentacle, represents material reality, the body, and manifestation in the physical world. Eddie doesn't just think about success, he manifests it. He turns $800 into millions. He transforms his appearance from disheveled to impeccably dressed. He moves into a luxury apartment. He gains physical coordination and fighting skills. Everything in his material reality reflects his internal transformation. This is the magician's power. The magician doesn't just work in one element. The magician has mastery over all 4. The magician can think it, feel it, speak it, and make it real. But here's what Eddie is about to learn. The magician's power comes with a cost. And if you misuse it, if you become dependent on it, if you let it control you instead of you controlling it, it will destroy you. The reversed magician. The reversed magician appears in Limitless in multiple forms, and each one teaches us something about the shadow side of this power. First, there's Gennady, the Russian loan shark. When Eddie needs money quickly, he borrows from Gennady. But Gennady sees Eddie's transformation and demands to know what's causing it. Eventually, Gennady gets his hands on NZT. Gennady on NZT is the reversed magician as misuse of power. He doesn't use the drug to create, to learn, or to manifest something meaningful. He uses it for violence, intimidation, and control. He becomes more dangerous, more brutal, more scattered, and it destroys him. Gennady takes too much NZT, becomes reckless, and dies from the overdose and the chaos he creates. This is the lesson. The magician's power can be used for creation or destruction. Choose wisely. Second, there's Carl Van Loon, the businessman who hires Eddie. Van Loon represents the reversed magician as manipulation. He's skilled, powerful, and successful, but he uses people as tools. He doesn't care about Eddie as a person. He only cares about what Eddie can do for him. Van Loon wants to control Eddie, to own him, to use his abilities for his own gain. He represents the corporate manipulator, the person who has mastered the game but plays it without ethics or care for others. Third, there's the man in the tan coat, a mysterious figure who stalks Eddie throughout the film. This man kills the model Eddie was with, trying to get to Eddie's supply of NZT. He represents the predator, the person who wants the magician's power but doesn't want to do the work to earn it. He wants to steal it. Eddie eventually kills him in self-defense, but the man in the tan coat represents a crucial lesson. There are always people who will try to take your power if you're not careful. Fourth, and most importantly, there's Eddie himself when he runs out of NZT. This is the reversed magician as blocked power. When Eddie's supply runs low, he starts experiencing withdrawal. He gets sick, he has memory blackouts, he loses time, he can't function. The confident, capable magician becomes scattered, weak, and powerless. This is the danger of becoming dependent on your tool. If you can't function without it, you don't truly have mastery. You're controlled by the tool instead of controlling it. Eddie realizes he has a problem. He's dependent on NZT, and if he can't find a steady supply, he'll lose everything he's built. This is the reversed magician's warning. Don't let your tools control you. Don't become so dependent on external sources of power that you forget your own inherent strength. As above, so below. The magician's most important teaching is represented by the gesture in the card. One hand pointing up, one hand pointing down. As above, so below. As within, so without. What exists in the realm of thought must be brought into the realm of matter. What you hold in your mind, you must manifest in reality. The inner world creates the outer world. Limitless demonstrates this principle perfectly. When Eddie's mind is scattered and blocked, above, his life is chaos, below. Messy apartment, failed relationships, no money, no future. When Eddie's mind unlocks and focuses above, his life transforms below. Clean apartment, successful book, millions of dollars, power, and influence. The external reality is always a reflection of the internal state. This is the magician's core teaching. Eddie's transformation isn't magic in the supernatural sense, it's magic in the hermetic sense. He aligns his thoughts with his actions. He focuses his will. He uses every resource available to him. And reality responds. When Eddie sees a pattern in the stock market, he acts on it immediately. Thought becomes action becomes result. No gap, no hesitation. When Eddie wants to learn a language, he listens, absorbs, and speaks. Intention becomes skill, becomes manifestation. This is what the magician teaches us. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, between potential and reality, between what could be and what is. Your thoughts matter. Your focus matters. Your will matters. What you hold in your mind, you bring into the world. But here's the deeper lesson that Eddie learns by the end of the film. True mastery means you don't need the external tool anymore. True mastery means you've internalized the power. True mastery. At the end of Limitless, Eddie has a final confrontation with Carl Van Loon. Van Loon thinks he has leverage over Eddie. He thinks Eddie is still dependent on NZT and therefore controllable. But Eddie reveals something crucial. He's off NZT. He's been working with chemists to create a version of the drug that has no side effects, and in the process, he's retained the abilities permanently. His brain has been rewired. He no longer needs the pill. Whether this is true or whether Eddie is bluffing is left ambiguous. But the symbolic lesson is clear. The true magician doesn't need the wand anymore. The true magician has internalized the power. The wand was training wheels. It was the tool that taught you how to focus, how to manifest, how to bridge thought and reality. But once you've learned the lesson, once you've developed the skill, you don't need the external tool anymore. You become the tool. This is the magician's ultimate teaching. The power isn't in the wand. The power is in you. The wand just helps you remember that. Eddie started as the fool, blocked, scattered, wasting his potential. He took the leap by trying NZT. He became the magician, focused, skilled, manifesting his will. And now he's transcended even that. He's internalized the lessons. He is the magic. In the final scene, Eddie is running for Senate. He's married to Lindy. His book is published. He has wealth, power, and influence. He's manifested everything he envisioned. And when Van Loon tries to threaten him, Eddie calmly explains that he's several moves ahead. He's anticipated every possibility. He's in control. This is the magician at full power, not dependent on external tools, not manipulating or deceiving, simply manifesting their will with clarity, focus, and skill. The lesson. So what does the magician teach us through Eddie's journey in Limitless? First, you already have the power. Eddie's intelligence was always there. NZT didn't give him something he didn't have. It unlocked what was already present. The magician reminds you that you have more potential than you're currently accessing. The question is, what's blocking you? Second, you need tools to focus your power. Eddie needed NZT to unlock his abilities. You might need meditation, or a morning routine, or a mentor, or a system. The magician teaches that tools aren't cheating. Tools are how you channel scattered energy into focused manifestation. Third, master all four elements. Don't just be good at thinking. Be good at feeling, communicating, and manifesting in the physical world. The magician uses every resource available. Mental skill, emotional intelligence, clear communication, and material action. Fourth, as above, so below. Your internal state creates your external reality. If your mind is scattered, your life will be chaotic. If your mind is focused, your life will reflect that focus. Change your thoughts. Change your world. Fifth, beware the shadow. The magician's power can be misused. Gennady used it for violence and died. Van Loon used it for manipulation and lost. The man in the tan coat tried to steal it and was killed. The reversed magician is manipulation, deception, and scattered energy. Use your power ethically. Sixth, don't become dependent on your tools. If you can't function without the external source of power, you don't have true mastery. The goal is to internalize the lessons so you no longer need the training wheels. And finally, manifestation requires action. The magician doesn't just think about success, the magician acts. Eddie didn't just imagine being wealthy. He traded stocks. He didn't just want to learn languages. He listened and practiced. Thought without action is just fantasy. The magician bridges the gap. When the magician appears in your reading, it's asking, what are you ready to manifest? What tools do you have available? What's stopping you from taking action? The magician upright says, You have everything you need. Focus your will and act now. The Magician reversed says, you're either blocking your own power, scattering your energy, or misusing your gifts. Which one is it? Eddie Morra went from blocked writer to master manifester by unlocking his potential, focusing his will, and taking action. He became the Magician. And so can you. Next week, we're looking at card 2, the High Priestess. The guardian of hidden knowledge, the keeper of mysteries, the one who sees what others cannot. And we're explaining it using a film about language, time, and the veil between worlds. Arrival. You'll learn about intuition, the subconscious, and why sometimes the most powerful action is stillness. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment. What's your magician moment? When did you manifest something you didn't think was possible? Remember, the power is already in you. You just need to focus it. I'll see you next week for the High Priestess.